Welcome back. It's time for business, and for that I'm joined by Catherine Nicholson. Hello, Catherine.
Hello, good morning.
Starting off our business roundup today in Asia, there could be strikes, protests, general unrest in India after the Prime Minister decided on some drastic economic reforms.
Yes, on Friday, Manmohan Singh pushed through some reforms that he's been wanting for a while and that economists have been wanting for a while, because India's economy is really very sluggish at the moment. On the last quarterly figures, growth was around a 3-year low in India. So these reforms, to take you through the headline measures, we're seeing a subsidised diesel price going up by 12%, 4 state-run companies being part privatised, but the biggest one of all, that measure you were talking about before, opening up key sectors to foreign investment. So these are retail, aviation, and also broadcast media. And in the retail sector, we could see foreign companies investing up to 51%, so taking controlling stakes in Indian companies. And this opens up big opportunities for the likes of Carrefour, Walmart, Tesco, these companies that are so present elsewhere in the world, wanting to get in on India. As I said, it's being welcomed by a lot of economists, and the Prime Minister's been wanting to do it for a while, but we are expecting people to resist this on an ordinary person level in India. And Natasha Butler from our New Delhi bureau explained why earlier on.
These reforms are actually incredibly controversial. Small businesses and shopkeepers are saying they're going to go out of business once the big supermarket chains roll into their areas. In terms of diesel hikes, farmers, hundreds of millions of farmers say that they will no longer be able to afford fuel to run their generators and tractors. And cooking gas, I should say, that's used by many poor Indians to cook across the country. They're going to get together with the opposition and say, we don't want these reforms. They're going to impact the small people, but only serve big business. The government say they're going to stand firm.
So obviously we'll have to see if Manmohan Singh does get these reforms through to the point of having these foreign companies come in and invest. It has to be noted that Standard & Poor's, for one, is threatening to downgrade India's credit rating to junk status if the economy doesn't start improving. People had also been looking for a boost from the central bank today with an interest rate decision, hoping it was going to be cut, but they have actually left that unchanged for now. So definitely lots of things to watch in India.
Okay, now a territorial dispute between Japan and China is impacting Japanese companies in China.
Yes, very much so. The Japanese government, as we know, recently said it's going to buy some disputed islands that China and Japan both say are theirs. Now, you can see these pictures here. This is outside Canon premises. Canon, a Japanese electronics company. They and Panasonic are 2 of the big companies that have been affected by protests in China against this move to buy these islands. And William Hildebrand has been looking into just how much this could cost Japanese businesses.
A quiet street, but a loud message. Draped over this Japanese restaurant in Beijing is a banner that reads, "Anti-Japan, declare war on Japan." At the heart of the row is ownership over a group of uninhabited islands, known as Senkaku in Japan and Diaoyu in China. As protests continue in Beijing, some people are trying to leverage their country's economic might over Tokyo.
They are making big mistake. From now on, they will be destroyed by China, by economic ways or by whatever means.
China's official news agency, Xinhua, said Japan was the country's top overseas investor. As of June, it had pumped $84 billion into the country. But Japanese businesses are now feeling the toll of the demonstrations. Here, protesters attack a Canon store. The camera maker said it will stop production in 3 of its 4 Chinese factories on Monday and Tuesday. Panasonic has taken a similar step, and Toyota is tallying losses, including a possible arson attack at one of its dealerships. China and Japan make up Asia's 2 largest economies, and though the losses appear one-sided for now, Chinese intellectuals have already voiced concern that it won't be long until their country feels the economic strain too.
How are the markets looking now, Catherine?
Well, trade in Japan is actually closed today because they've got a bank holiday, a public holiday for Respect for Old People Day, I think they call it. But we can see the rest of the markets, they're a very mixed picture indeed. The Hang Seng just peeping over into positive territory. the Kospi marginally down, but the Shanghai Composite really losing heavily there. Chinese mainland stocks seeing very steep losses. This is partly down to some very weak economic data. Now here in Europe, trading just opening up for the week. We're seeing a mixed picture here as well. Some negative trade there to start the week. But we have to point out that the European stocks have had a very sharp 2-week rally, so perhaps just a bit of a correction to start off the day.
We're going to stay with Europe because there have been some decisions and protests over the state of the Eurozone.
Yeah, all weekend, Spain and Portugal, there's thousands of people out on the streets campaigning against new austerity cuts. And we know that Portugal's already taken a European bailout and seen a lot of austerity cuts because of that. There's a lot of pressure on Spain to get its budget in order, and they're cutting yet again. So we've seen nurses, teachers, public sector workers out on the streets saying they just can't take any more. But at a European level, there are actually splits, it seems, over how to deal with the Spanish question. We've had the finance ministers meeting up in the last few days, and it turns out that Wolfgang Schäuble, the German finance minister, he has told reporters that it would be stupid for Spain to take a bailout. Those are his words. He says that it's not necessary at all. But on the opposite corner, we've got the French finance minister, Pierre Moscovici, who is going all guns blazing, saying Spain should take a bailout because it would benefit Spain and it would stabilise the wider Eurozone. So very different opinions there. And of course, we know the Spanish government very against taking a bailout from Europe.
All right, we're going to take a look now at some business news in brief. Staying in Spain first, the government's having a row with Ryanair over safety concerns. 2 flights to Spain this weekend had to be diverted because of technical issues. Madrid is asking the European Commission to give them new powers to slap extra safety checks on airlines operating in their airspace. Ryanair's hitting back, though, saying that it has exactly the same proportion of technical issues as Spanish airlines like Iberia or Vueling.
Foreign haulage companies might not be so happy to keep on trucking in the UK in future. They're going to have to pay around an extra €1,200 a year to operate on British roads. Ministers in Westminster say it's not fair that UK hauliers have to pay charges to drive in Europe, but foreign trucks don't have to pay in Britain. UK truckers will have to pay the same levy, but it'll be cancelled out via a cut in their vehicle taxes.
And cash-strapped British people have boosted the coffers of the short-term loans company Wonga. Their latest figures show net earnings up 269% last year. The company offers loans of up to £1,000, but only for short periods. Wonga has come in for criticism for its interest rates of up to 4,000% APR, but they say that because the loans are short-term, they're not taking advantage of customers. And the Danish toy company Lego is hoping to build up its profits with a new theme park.
Yes, Legoland Malaysia opened up at the weekend, if you fancy a bit of a long-haul day out, Claire. It's their 6th theme park worldwide. They've got 3 in Europe, 2 in the United States, and we can see there lots of dancing and fun and games going on for the opening weekend. This is a big move for Lego, their first theme park in Asia, and theme parks did actually get them into a spot of bother around 20 years ago or so. The company wasn't doing as well, people saying Lego had diversified too much away from their toy business, but things very much back on track now, hence opening this brand new park. Looks like great fun as well.
It does, and I think you've managed to convince our producer, Chris. He's been telling me in my ear that he thinks it looks like a lot of fun. Maybe we could organise a company trip there sometime.
Yeah, we could borrow some children to give us a reason to go there, validate it a
little bit. That would be a little bit better, wouldn't it? All right, thank you very much, Catherine, for that look at the day's business news. Thank you for watching. Do stay tuned to France 24.